So we'll start initially. So basically, I know maybe you have some idea of IM, you have read some videos. So overall, the concept of IM is very simple. Okay. So it is the concept of managing the overall identities of any particular organization or wherever this particular thing is working. Let's take it is the whole of USA or whole of India or any kind of organization which you join. So their entire goal is to manage the life cycle of any user who joins the organization till the time he leaves the organization. Okay. So the entire journey basically it is being managed right from the time he joins when he gets his laptop to the time he submits his laptop. So on this entire process, the user may get promoted, the user may get different kinds of access based upon his work requirement. Okay, so all those things are basically captured by the IAM system so that people know that the right person has the right access. That is the overall goal.
Hmm.
Now if you talk about the various products into IAM, let's talk about the various players. So the players of IAM mostly, as of now, there are the major players are SailPoint, which is the leader. Okay, then you have ForgeRock, which is again a SailPoint product only, but it has taken up. Means SailPoint has bought ForgeRock. ForgeRock is there. Then there is Microsoft. Okay, and then you have products like Ping. Ping also is a part of ForgeRock only. So these are the various, and finally Oracle. So these are the various products you might see in the market. And one more product has come in that is called Savient. So whenever you will work
Hmm.
for any IAM tool, specifically identity management. So IAM has two parts, if you can see, identity and access management. Okay. So
Correct.
you can either work for identity management or you can work for access management. But if you have both of the concepts, then it will be very useful to you. Okay. So we'll not discuss so much about access management. We will discuss mostly about identity management. Access management is like for single sign on, those kind of purposes, if you have worked on those kind of technologies. So so when we start IAM, let's take if a user joins in your organization, what is the flow and how come he gets his access. So that basic flow I will just make you a small piece of diagram to make you understand so that you have the concepts ready. So let's take, whenever you join any other, suppose you join your university also. Okay, so the first thing which you do is you just give your documentation about yourself, your ID cards, your certificates, etc., etc., your background verification. So all those details you are giving to the HR personnel who basically is the source of contact for you before you join your organization, your university, or any other place. Okay. So this is the person who is in contact with you, and you are providing all the information to this particular person. Now, once you provide the information to this particular person, what this particular person does is that, because you will be joining the organization or the university, this person basically takes your information and whatever is required for you to join the organization, she will create an entry for you. Okay. So that entry she might create in her application. So there, every company or every university has their own HR applications. Okay. So these applications are also different kinds of. It can be a database, it can be simple file, Excel file, or it can be Workday, or the big HR applications like SAP. So there are many big organizations which, like SailPoint is a part of IAM, right? So there are organizations which handles HR system also. So HR basically updates the data in their HR system, and once they update, then this data is basically taken up by the IAM system. So IAM system again is another product which is can either be ForgeRock, SailPoint, Microsoft, anything. The job is to take the data from the HR system, and once it takes the data from HR system, it will basically store the data in its own DB or database. So whatever data HR is sending, maybe HR is sending 10 things. Okay, so it will also store those data, and then it will basically use these data to pass it on to multiple other systems. So for example, there are systems like Active Directory, okay, which is, I think every company has a directory to store the users. Then you might have mailboxes, okay, mailbox you have. Then you might have other applications XYZ where, like ServiceNow or any kind of application you need access. So ultimately the goal is that all the access should be controlled by this IAM system. Means the IAM system should get the data from HR system, and then it will start creating records into target system automatically, either automatically or through some request based model that we will discuss later on going forward. That is the overall flow what happens. So it comes from HR to the IAM system, and from the IAM system the data goes to multiple target systems. Now remember one particular thing. Ultimately you are dealing with an identity. Okay, identity means a unique object you can think of about. So whenever HR will send the data, let's take HR sends 10 users data, or 10 users are there. So in SailPoint also, or in IAM system, let's say this is the HR system, 10 users will get created because there are 10 in HR. Now, for example, let's take yourself. Okay. So you are living in USA, maybe you might have an account in multiple banks. Let's take an Aadhaar card, you have PAN card, you have, uh, let's take driving license and so on and so forth, right? So, but everything is attached to you. So one person, suppose 10 users are over here. Now there are multiple applications. Let's say application X, application Y, application Z, okay, W, something. So now it doesn't mean that 10 users are over here, so 10 accounts will be there everywhere. It is not necessary. Okay. So there can be that out of these 10 users, only 5 have application access, all 10 have Y access, and 2 have Z access, and one only have W access. So out of these XYZW applications, we see that only Y is the application where everybody has access, but other applications, only few of the 10 people have access. So these kind of applications, if you see in downstream where everybody will have access, these applications are called birthright applications. Means whenever a person joins the organization, by default he will have this access, whether he is joining as an executive, or whether he is joining as a student, or whether he is joining as a trainee, intern, anything. So everybody who is joining, they will have a basic access, like either to enter the organization or to log into the organization's maybe laptop. That is called birthright access.
Okay,
Now,
it's like any Slack or Microsoft Teams, Outlook,
yes,
basic kind of things, right?
exactly. Exactly, because everybody would need that to at least do the basic job. Okay, so this is the very basic access. Now, other access, maybe you are working in SOC tool, right? So you might need access to various SOC tool uh, to do the various monitoring part, right? Like maybe SIEM integrations and all those tools. I'm not so aware, but CrowdStrike and all
Splunk,
those,
Seam, yeah,
Splunk, yeah, Splunk and all. Proofpoint is there, right? So all those tools, nobody else will have access apart from you and your team, correct?
yes.
So those access are called request based access. Means based on the requirement, maybe you have to, when you join the organization, a manager will request for you, or maybe you can request, a manager will approve, and then the respective admin team will grant the access. So these kind of accesses are called request based access. Based upon the requirement you get it. It is not that everybody will get it. Or in case if you join an organization and you have a specific role, maybe SOC engineer or security engineer type SOC. So if those kind of categorization has been done in the organization, so then whenever you join, automatically you can get these access also. But if your organization doesn't have a specific categorization, then system will not able to know that whether he is a SOC guy or whether he is a IAM guy or what kind of person. So then it depends upon a manual input to grant the access. Automatically system cannot grant access. So system can grant access automatically as well as through a request based pattern. Means you can go into system like SailPoint and request for something to get the access. But if you want to make it automatic, then you have to assign some input parameters that based upon these criteria I want to grant the access. If it is not possible, then the other option is you grant request, and then based upon the request approval, then automatically it is granted. So we'll discuss on this, and we'll also see practically how we can do all this. So till here, any questions?
I'm good till here. Thank you.
Great. So
Mhm.
next we have some terminologies which I want to focus on today. So first is life cycle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this word you might hear a lot of things. What is the life cycle of the user? Life cycle state of the user. Okay. So whenever a user joins, okay, any organization, so there are multiple life cycle state defined by the organization depending upon their own category. Okay. So let's take an example. I will give you. So there is a life cycle journey. Like for example, when you live, right, you are in your childhood and then you become mature, then you're young, and then you become old. This is your life cycle state journey, correct? So similarly, when you join any organization, they also have their life cycle state. For example, let me tell you. Initially, you may be a pre-hire, means you have not joined, but you are just about to join. Then, then you may be after pre-hire, your journey may be turned to active. Okay, and then you may be having two kind of options. Maybe sometimes what happens is that a user is active, means he is readily working for an organization and is getting the payment, salaries, and everything. And then when he, let's take, resigned, okay, so then maybe you can be treated as terminated, right? And finally, every organization has their own means audit purpose, that they can rehire a person within 30 days or 1 year. So they will restore your data till 1 year. After 1 year, your data will delete it. Okay, so whatever data you have, so now if you rejoin the company again, then you will get fresh employee ID, fresh email, everything. But if you join within 6 months, maybe you will get the get back the or previous ones. So there can be a state called delete. Apart from that, there can be another state over here. So what is that state? That can be inactive. So there are certain times when, if you hear about maternity leaves and all those things, or study leaves somebody has taken from any organization, but he is still a part of the organization, so
Mm-hmm.
in that case he is not terminated, he is just inactive. So these kind of states you will keep on hearing when you work for any IM project. Okay, and it's very important, because these are the states depend upon which your every business workflow starts. So you have to identify, you have to understand from your organization from whom you are working, that in pre-hire, okay, what all things happen. What all things happen when a person is active? What all things happen when a person is deleted? So based upon that, you have to write your logic and do the stuffs. Okay, so you have to make yourself understand from the organization, because see, whenever, if you join any fresh IM project when there is nothing, okay, or maybe a consulting firm, if you join, so there they may be consulting some products or some company where there is no IM, or maybe if there is an IM, the requirement is that to improve that process. Okay, so that is why you have to understand that these pre-hire, active, terminated, deleted, inactive, all these life cycle stages, what the company basically does manually or through the existing structure. Maybe in pre-hire they might just create the account and not activate it. Okay, and some companies may be activating in the pre-hire itself. So every company has their own way of working style. You have to understand their way of working on this life cycle status. Any questions?
No, good.
So next we have a term which again you will be hearing a lot, is aggregation. So aggregation, or you can call this reconciliation of data. So in SailPoint, basically you have two kinds of aggregation. One aggregation is called trusted aggregation, and another aggregation is called target. So what does this mean, aggregation? What it means? So the diagram I had shown you, right, where we had the HR system, correct? And here we had the IAM system. And after the
Mm-hmm.
IAM system, we had the applications connected to the IAM system in the downstream. Now, whenever I will get the data from HR system to the IAM system, it can be any IAM, SailPoint, ForgeRock, anything. Then this aggregation, okay, what it will do? It will create new users and it will update the existing users. So this is the only source of trust for me. If this HR system tells me that he's a new user or he is leaving the company, I have to blindly trust him. Trust the system, because I am not a system where people are inputting data. I am dependent on HR system. That is why this aggregation is called as trusted aggregation, where you trust blindly to the system, and whatever the data sends you, you automatically are changing your data accordingly. So
Yeah.
whenever data
Okay.
comes from HR systems to IM system, that process is called trusted aggregation. Now here also a person, let's take a person has first name as Sai over here. Okay, last name is, let's take XYZ. So whenever a data will come over here for Sai, his first name again will be same. Whatever is over here, it will be replicated in the IAM system. Last name is XYZ. Now from here there is a connection to all the systems. So obviously if you have an account over here, here also your first name will be same. Last name will be again same. So there's a sync of data which happens from here to here to here. But there can be a situation that somebody logs into the system, because this is an individual application X. He logs into system and he changes your last name to XY. So what this system will do, whenever there is another job which runs regularly from this system and it comes to IAM system, just as an account level, not at an identity level. So whatever you see the data, this is there for the HR system data. But every system has its own data in the IAM system. Whenever we'll see the, let's take, I will show you right now. So whenever I do a aggregation from this system to this system, okay, this aggregation, let's take I do from X system to IAM system. This won't change the last name in the IAM system to XY. Okay, it will still be XYZ only. But maybe in the account level it changes to XY, but in the SailPoint level it will never change, because this is not a trusted application for me, target application. That is why any aggregation which happens from downstream application to SailPoint, these aggregations are called target aggregations. They do not change data of any user inside SailPoint.
Okay.
If your data is there as this and this in HR system, it will be there in SailPoint as this. It will not become XY because here somebody has made a change. Rather than SailPoint will again push it back to XYZ. Okay. If somebody goes into the system and suppose it changed again to XY, again tomorrow the job will run. This flow will happen. HR to IAM, IAM to say IAM to X. So again it will revert back to XYZ. So there, these kind of issues you might see in real time, that okay, somebody told my department is changed, but it is still showing old department. We get these kind of issues. So what many people do is that that application goes and changes it manually, that I have changed it. Okay, good, you can work now. Or tomorrow again he will come and he will say what you have changed. Again, it is the old department only. So it is because until and unless you make the change over here, okay, HR system, and if your application is integrated to SailPoint and that attribute is syncing, then there is no point in changing over here, because ultimately again tomorrow when the job will run or when the sync will run, it will rewrite the data whatever is there in the HR system. So that is what IAM system does on a regular basis. It tries to sync the data according to the HR system. Whatever is there in the HR system, whatever is your job grade, your promotion, your title, or maybe department name, any other field, address, mobile number, it tries to sync those data so that everywhere there is a same data. It cannot be that in one place you have a one data, another place another data. That is not a good practice, right? So you understood this process aggregation, what is aggregation and what is trusted target aggregation?
I'm getting it. So I have a doubt here. If
Yeah,
there is
please.
any updation done in the target application, let's say X, okay, and he wants to from that application, the user wants to change the last name. Okay, he need to send the data to HR directly instead of IAM.
Yeah, so what he needs to do is, if he wants his last name, so first of all, he needs to input it to the HR people that my last name has changed because of so and so reason. So HR will change it in their file, and then when HR changes, it will come automatically to IAM system, and then from IAM, it will come automatically to the X system.
Got it,
So
got it.
there is no point in changing in X system because maybe it will remain for 24 hours, but again, it will get back.
Mm-hmm. Got it,
This is
got
the thing. Now the next term we will go, that is called again another term called provisioning. Okay, so this term also you will hear a lot in the day-to-day management. Provisioning. So provisioning, if you understand the term, means to provision someone to do something. So when you joined as a SOC engineer, you have provision to check the logs in the tools. You had the access to do that. Okay, you had the provision to do that. If somebody else joins, your organization, then you would give them some access by either maybe some AD group access you can give, or you had to create an account in the proof points. I don't know, maybe there were some things which you had to do. So you were doing those things, like you were provisioning something or provisioning someone to do something, right? So here also provisioning means whenever the IAM system, okay, let's for example, you mentioned we did discuss changing the data. So whenever an IAM system is either adding or modifying or removing or deleting any data from a target system, that is called provisioning. It can either create something, it can either remove something, or it can modify the existing permissions. So whatever this IAM system is doing directly to the target system XYZ, either of these three, then it is called provisioning. It is not that only addition is called provisioning or removal is provisioning. No, both addition, removal, as well as modification, all the three are part of provisioning. There can be a situation when a person joins the organization, so IAM system provisions his account to XYZ application. Now he may be joining as a normal person, and then suddenly he becomes an admin of XYZ or owner of XYZ application. Then suddenly IAM system will also have to modify his access. So he may be getting normal access initially, but then because as an admin person, he may get an admin access. So then the IAM system will add or maybe modify his access, remove his existing access, and give him some more privileges. And when he leaves the organization, IMCT will also remove his access or disable his account. So all these three important things which IAM system is doing directly, it is a part of provisioning. These three are called provisioning thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So this term also you will be hearing a lot in IAM. Next important term is called certification or attestation. So certification is something like you can think about, like you have a lot of certification from your side. Maybe you have done your course certification or something, you have a proof that you have passed this course or you have done this kind of course from this particular academy or something like that, right? So in US or in Europe, right, there are various maybe what I would say, like they are standards, okay, where they have defined that as a part of GDPR or as a part of SOX compliant. So there are certain parameters which these industry or these organizations have defined as a, you can say, rules and regulations, that any application which is critical or which has user data, it depends upon country to country. US has mostly most difficult kind of or stringent laws based for personal data. So if any application is storing any personal data of a user, okay, with critical access like banking application or credit card applications which store your credit card information and XYZ, a lot of things are there. So on a regular basis, there the admin people's access need to be reviewed, and whoever have access normal also on a regular basis, maybe 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year, there is a timeline. There has to be a review of access. Means either a manager can review or maybe the application owner, any person who is authorized to do that. He needs to review the access that this person has read and write access or admin access and so on and so forth, and the person's right has been reviewed by a certain person. Earlier, when this tool was not there, what people used to do, they used to go into the application, get a report in form of Excel, and then manually do the review one by one. Okay, he is there, let him be because he's a part. He is there, let him be, he's a part. Okay, he is there, he is still working with this in this domain, let him be. So that is way they used to do, and then they used to check out the person who were no longer needed. And this thing they used to do either 3 months or 6 months, depending upon the application criticality. So if it is very critical application, then maybe 3 months. If it is medium critical, then 6 months. If it is normal, then once a year. So this kind of review regularly used to happen manually. But once IAM came into the picture, these IAM products came into the picture, what they did is that because now we have a connectivity with the applications, right? So if you see SailPoint or IAM system, they are connected with the application XYZ directly. So what they can do is they can pull in the data as a report that this person and this access, that this, everything they will get in a structured format where
Mm-hmm.
you have to generate a report kind of thing. You can do it from the IAM system only. We'll show that to you when this topic comes into the picture. You can generate a report, and then based upon this report you can either remove his access, okay, by clicking on cross, or you can make his access, means you can either tick mark it so that his access is remaining, means it should be as it is. If you
Mm-hmm.
click cross, then access will be removed. If you click tick, then access will be maintained. And once this
Okay.
is done, then entire means a report is being generated that this is the thing has been done by this particular user every 3 months, and that report can be sent to the auditor whenever he comes to audit the organization, internal or external auditors, that this has been done for this application, this review has been completed, and these are the decisions being taken. So it is not manual, it is just automatic. So it is helpful for both of the teams, right? Means both for the application team also and for the auditor team also. Earlier it
Mm-hmm.
would have been manual process. So that is why once you join any organization where already IAM is there, okay, so either you will work in support or you will work in this part, certification part, because the certification is there on a regular basis. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that is why you know how and what certification is.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
And last but not the least, one more term is there is called RBAC. This is also very famous terminology. RBAC, as you can see, the definition is role based access control. So most of the IAM
Mm-hmm.
system works in this pattern, role based IAM access control. So what you will see in the coming classes, that role is basically directly attached to access of the users. Okay. So if he has a role A, okay, he will get an access maybe X and maybe Y. If he have a role B, he may get an access maybe Z and W. Now role A and role B can be granted to a user based upon his attributes. So there can be an attribute, let's take department. So if department is X, then automatically there can be a rule written in SailPoint that you give a role A. If department is Y, you give a role B. So if a person, let's take, joins an organization and he has department as Y, then automatically he will get a role B and he will get access Z and access W. But on the contrary, if a user has department X, then he will get role A, not role B, and he will get access X and Y. So this way access can be segregated depending upon role. But again, as I mentioned, this business logic, it is not you who define, it is the business people who define. So whenever you implement any IAM system from scratch, so all this business logic the business people will give you. It is you who will implement this. You cannot define a business for them because they know that if I have this department, I should get this access. So
Mm-hmm.
this is the way you can segregate the access based upon department. Department is one of the attributes. Other attributes can also be there. You can use any attribute and then you can segregate based upon the attribute. Then you can give access. So this way, whenever the attribute is matching, the access will be there. Whenever he is either he has changed his department or something else has happened to him, or he has left the company, then automatically access will be removed.
Mm-hmm.
So this way, whenever you can control the access automatically. So this is another important terminology is called role-based access control. Based upon the role, your access may vary. So till here, any questions?
Yeah, one question in the rollback, role based only. So one user can have only one role, right? He cannot have both the roles or multiple roles, right?
That depends upon the criteria. So if he is satisfying the criteria of more than one role, okay,
Mm-hmm.
he can have more than one role.
Okay.
I'm just giving you an example that X and Y, but it can
Mm-hmm.
be that he can have more than one roles. In
Mm-hmm.
organization, if you go, there may be hundred of roles there. Okay, so one
Okay.
person may have 20 roles, 30 roles, depending upon the criteria.
Got it.
And
Got it.
some roles may be requestable also. Maybe if there is no criteria, then you can grant a role by requesting, as I mentioned, like the example which I gave for you initially.
Got you. Thank you.
So this were the basics of IAM as a part. Like these things, you will any product changes. Okay, these things will never change. These four or five terminologies, which will always be the same, whether whatever product you use. Okay. Now we'll discuss a bit on the product. Okay.
Okay.
So going before going to SailPoint, I will just discuss a brief about the SailPoint thing. You see, SailPoint before SailPoint came into the picture, there were other products like if you have heard about Sun. Okay, Sun was the one who started mostly this IM thing last 15 20 years back, and then it was taken up. The market player was Oracle. So I have started working from Sun also. I worked in Oracle also, and then Oracle was capturing the market. Most of the market was captured. IM market was Oracle, but then it shifted slowly to SailPoint and other players like Microsoft, and you can say Azure is there, is a part of Microsoft only, Forgeron, etc. So this Savient, Forgeron. So Oracle is also there. Many big organizations still use Oracle because they are not able to move from Oracle because it has given a lot of features. Maximum organization you will see they are with SailPoint as of now because of the lightweight tool and other features also which they give. The more developers are also available. So now when this IAM system came into the picture earlier, I think last if you talk about last 4 to 5 years back also,
Mm-hmm.
every product was on-prem product. Most okay. So 5 years back I'm talking about. On-prem product means that either Oracle or SailPoint, they will have their product and you have to install it in your own network. So you have your own network. Let's take this is a network, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And inside the network you have your applications, XYZ, all the applications. So inside the network, again, one more applications you have to install it is SailPoint or Oracle, and they have their own architecture. I'm not going into the architecture right now. So everything is in your hand. The database is in your hand. Okay, let's check. This is connected to DB. So everything, right from the update to where this is running in an app. Let's say it's running in an application server, Apache or something. So everything is under your control. The tool they have given the WAR file, but it is you who have deployed it in your network. So tomorrow, if you want to upgrade the tool, or if you want to add some customization in the tool accordingly, you can do that. Apart from major upgrades, something you cannot change in the tool because they have made the tool. But all kind of customization, how many replications you want to have, how many disaster recovery you want to have, it is under your control. They may give the architecture to you, but you can control it according to your requirement. This was going on till last 3 to 4 years. Okay, most of till now also I think I would say 50% of customers or 60 70% of customers are still on prem. Mostly banking, you will say, and other customers. They have not gone into cloud. But now the trend is changing. Okay, so earlier everything would have been under your control, but now because if you want to see this architecture, there is so many things you have to manage everything. Okay, you will need one DB team, you will need one application team, then SailPoint developer team, then application server developer team to manage all these things, right? So it is a very hectic also and costly also to manage the servers and all. So what now SailPoint is offering is a SaaS solution. So have you worked on any SaaS solution?
No, nothing. But I know it's like as a platform service, software as a service, right?
Yeah. So what
Uh-huh.
they do as a software as a service, it is just like all the deployments which you made. Okay. So suppose for SaaS solution.
Mm-hmm.
So till now on-prem, what was the difference in on-prem versus SaaS? So now most of the client are moving toward this because it is a very cheap also for them and it is less headache.
Mm-hmm.
In on-prem, what you had your own network, okay, where you had to install everything.
Yeah, like a data
Let's say
center kind of setup
like
and
a data
also
center kind
costing.
of setup, yeah, costing and everything. But in
Mm-hmm.
SaaS model, everything is managed by SailPoint. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
SailPoint or whatever company it is, they are handling the architecture. Means the tool is deployed to their system. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and what they will give you is they will just give you a URL.
Okay.
They will spin up a tenant for you where it is running in their cloud, private cloud, where you don't know what database they are using, where the data is getting stored. Maybe you know the location, but exactly what DB they are using, what operating system they are using, what application server they are using, you don't have any idea. You are just getting one URL from them and you are using it accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
Like this URL they call it as,
Yeah, I
yeah,
am little bit aware of this tenant, like sandbox tenant, preview tenant, production
correct,
tenants, correct?
right. So they will give you some tenant which you can use and configure them, and this tenant will be hosted in their cloud platform, in their private cloud, and anything goes wrong, they will be responsible, and you will be charged according to user license. So how many user license you take? Suppose you take 1,000 users, so you have to pay for 1,000 users. If you take 2,000 users, you have to pay for 2,000 users. These all
Mm-hmm.
things we'll discuss about in details when we discuss the architecture part.